One of the things I see as I reconnect these electrical connectors is just a little bit of corrosion starting on them. And so before I put the connections back together, I'm going to put a little dielectric grease on them. And hopefully that should keep them nice and fresh. And we have the carburetors reinstalled. All the hoses are hooked up. Wiring's hooked up. And now it's time to actually start installing the Hypercharger itself. So we will be able to go back to the instructions that came with the Hypercharger. Okay, then the next thing we do is comes with a steel piece here, this little piece here. You take one of your original clamps and you bend the metal so it kind of hangs on like that. And then you take your clamp and your air duct and just put your clamp on like that. So it looks just like that. Now when reading online some of the tips, one of the tips somebody had is this little vacuum line nipple here will go to the butterflies of the Hypercharger, and they don't have you putting this on till after you have the air tube mounted. And online they said it's much easier to hook your vacuum line up before you mount your air tube here, and so that's what I'm going to do. And then while I have this off here, this is the carburetor vent line. And this will plug into the back of the Hypercharger also. There is a screw-in fitting in the back of the Hypercharger, and this hose will plug right into that. And so I'll go ahead and remove this cap here and put the vacuum line on. And the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to replace the air tubes from the carburetor going up to the air box, and then I will put the air box back on. And I have my air box on and tight. I have my air tubes on and tight. My vent hose from the cylinder head is going up, and that is on and connected. The next step will be to hook the air tube here to the air box there. And to get this bugger on, first you'll hook this right underneath on the bottom of the air box, and then just kind of walk it right up onto the air box. And then you will mount the other side with the 3 mounts on the bracket here. Okay, one thing I want to show you right here is on this mount right here, they provide a little spacer bushing here. And then the nut you use is the gold nut. There's 3 chrome nuts and 1 gold looking nut, and you use the gold nut for this mount here. And now I have everything mounted in the air tube here, and I'm going to tighten everything up. And I have everything tight now, and now it will be time to mount the Hypercharger. And I'm going to start by taking the cover off here with these 4 screws. Okay, in mounting the Hypercharger, this is going to be my first real big criticism of this whole thing. Otherwise it's been pretty nice. What you have to do is you have to try to get this air tube inside the Hypercharger, so you have to try to bend the rubber in and start working it around there. That is no small feat. And then to bolt it on, there's 3 bolts, and in order to get the bolt in, you have to pry the rubber back and then try to get the bolt in there and put a nut on the other end, or the other side, and that is no easy feat either. So we'll finish this up by putting 3 bolts in and bolting it to the mounting frame here. Other than that, everything else has been fairly decent, but this is, I'd go back to the drawing board on this, I think. And now I will screw this vacuum fitting on the back of the Hypercharger, and I will hook up the float bowl vent to that, and I'll take the vacuum line and I'll hook it to the front of the Hypercharger butterflies. And now we'll put the cover on. They call that the trap door, I guess. And now with the cover on, it'll be time to put the gas tank and seat back on. And make sure that you didn't pinch your gauge wires here when you put your tank on. Having to put some electric grease in the connection here too before I put it together. And then we'll come back to the other side here and hook the fuel line back up to the tank. It's pretty important. Then it'll be time to put our plastic wire guard cover there. And then we put the front seat on. And tighten down our bolt. And then we'll put the back seat on. And we'll put the decorative cover on next. We're almost done. And last but not least, we will rehook the negative battery cable up, and we will put the cover back on. And now everything's back together. I've double checked to make sure everything's tight. All the hoses are on, all the wires are connected. I've turned the gas on and I don't see any fuel running out the carburetors, so about the only thing we can do is start it up.